A scandal that's gripped the nation, yet one lacking nationwide legislation. Between 1999 and 2015, hundreds of sub-postmasters across the UK were wrongly prosecuted due to a faulty IT account software called Horizon. A new law aimed at quashing those convictions has been introduced by the government, but it currently only applies to England and Wales.
I was employed by Post Office. It was a UK company. It wasn't Post Office NI. The Scottish Postmasters wasn't Scottish or Post Office Scotland. It was UK-wide.
Former Port Stewart sub-postmaster Lee Williamson is fighting his conviction for fraud at the Court of Appeal.
I think we should be dealt with fairly and in the same as our colleagues in England and Wales. So although it's welcome and there's a glimmer of hope that it's progressing slowly forward, we're still at a disadvantage in this area. It's a roller coaster of emotions.
Today, the Justice Minister outlined that assurances had been sought by Stormont ministers that government legislation would include Northern Ireland.
It is particularly frustrating that they've decided to proceed without it. We have written again to the Minister and asked him to consider adding Northern Ireland to the legislation as it goes through the House of Commons, because there will be an opportunity to amend the legislation. We remain of the view that this is not just the simplest way and the quickest way to deal with it, but the right way to deal with it in terms of ensuring that there is parity of treatment for people in Northern Ireland.
Questions about the lack of inclusion of Northern Ireland within the legislation were put to the Post Office Minister.
It was a very difficult decision we took. Clearly we are very happy to work with the authorities, and we've, as I said in my remarks, spoken to my counterpart in Northern Ireland. We've got some legislation we've tabled today, a 10-clause, 10-page bill. It should be a relatively straightforward piece of legislation to put together in terms of the context of it. We're very happy to lend our support to Northern Ireland to be able to do the same as we're doing if that's the choice they want to make.
While the legislation is expected to clear the majority of victims in England and Wales by the end of July, the future remains uncertain for those like Lee.
You know, the delay to justice does make you angry. You do have to have hope in your heart that it will be resolved soon.